A very, very warm welcome to yet another Kumekucha video. Information and analysis that is very difficult to find anywhere else. I recommend that you subscribe and you hit the bell button so that you receive notifications every time I have a new video. Karibu sana and enjoy. On Wednesday this week, I believe the date was 23rd of January, the president had lunch at a restaurant called Baka. And he had this lunch with Deputy President William Samoei Ruto. This, of course, was in Mombasa Old Town. Yeah, you know, the section of Mombasa that's the Old Town. By the way, you'll have noticed the president has camped in Mombasa. There must be a reason. Anyway, this threw a lot of Kenyans into confusion. Because just the previous day, the deputy president's trays and files had been cleared. In other words, he had been left with no job to do. We'll come back to that in a moment. Then yesterday, the deputy president said that he was very happy with the new arrangement. Okay? He said that it would enhance government efficiency. What's going on here? I mean, the deputy president even asked civil servants to make sure they comply. He appealed to them to comply, and give Matiang'i all the support. Now, this is very confusing, is it not? Actually, this is what happens when you decide to analyze politics at face value. A politician says this, you take him for his word. A politician does that, you don't read between the lines. Definitely you're going to get confused. Because these guys are masters of concealing what is really going on. So let's just discuss what is really going on here. Okay? And before we do that, I cannot fail to mention the president's excellent choice, excellent taste in the Baka restaurant. Now, for those who are not very familiar with our coastal city, the Baka restaurant is along Kibokoni Road, almost at the edge of the old town, where the old town now meets the new modern Mombasa. And these guys serve authentic Swahili dishes, very delicious. Now, the fascinating thing here is that the Baka is not an upmarket restaurant. It is almost a kibanda. Of course, it's very clean and all that, but you cannot get any 4-star or even 3-star facilities here. If you get what I mean. This is definitely not Serena Beach Hotel. This is a small restaurant in the old town, old Mombasa town. And just to give you a quick tip, next time in Mombasa, make sure you go there on the day they make biryani. Because their biryani, this is a rice dish. Their biryani is out of this world. I'm just watering in the mouth thinking about it. My apologies for getting carried away, but older members of this channel will know that I consider Mombasa my hometown. Sisi kwetu ni Mombasa, kuja bara sisi ni wageni. Anyway, let's dive into the politics. And as we do that, I want to remind you of the old classic mafia movies. You will constantly hear somebody telling a person they're about to shoot, sorry, it's not personal, it's business. And then they pump several bullets into them. Remember that? Or a character, behaving very lovingly towards another man, and even kissing him on the cheeks. And meanwhile, there's an assassin right behind this guy's kissing on the cheeks. Ready to strangle that guy to death. I'm sure you've seen that. If you want to understand politics anywhere in the world, watch old mafia movies. No wonder my late political lecturer, just loved The Godfather, the book. Now, I read Mario Puzo's classic, when I was in high school. And some years later, I was very shocked when my political lecturer brought up the book during one of his lectures. I didn't even know that he had read it. I had no idea. But he used the book to illustrate very many things in politics. How dirty politics is, for instance. Yeah, there are always killings, murders, anywhere in the world. And for our purposes today, how in politics you never show your hand and you never show your true feelings. This was very necessary because in the early days of my lectures on politics, from my political lecturer, I always used to interject. When he's trying to tell me something in politics, he's trying to analyze something, I interject with something like, but so and so said this in yesterday's newspaper. They said this and this and this, which contradicts what you're saying. And he would always respond, I think most of you know, what rubbish. Yeah, if you're still trying to analyze politics by taking politicians' statements at face value, you need to read The Godfather. There's an interesting aside here that I must go into. Now, my favorite scene in The Godfather, the movie, happens to be precisely the same scene, that was a great favorite of my late political lecturer, in the book. And for very different reasons. My reason was, I thought this was the most dramatic scene because it revealed the true character of Michael Corleone, one of the sons of the Godfather. The one who had gone off to join the army, the one who had read law, the one who had married a non-Italian. He looked like he was not interested at all in the family business. But in this scene, he accomplished a very important assassination, a shock assassination, that turned the tables. That was a game changer. And I suspect the reason why my late political lecturer loved this scene so much, was because a crooked cop got what was coming to him. He described this scene so many times that I got sick of it. And he would always ask me the question, son, do you know what veal is? The crooked cop, who was being paid by the mafia, Sergeant McCluskey, is enjoying veal, the time that is shot. We're all Africans, and we're not all so polished, if I can put it like that, to understand what veal is. It is beef meat, which is supposed to be very soft, very tender, because it comes from a calf, and not a grown cow, hardened, grown cow. That's what veal is. And so, for instance, back to our local politics. For instance, if you hear politicians are having a meal together, it is reason to get very worried. I kid you not. Now, let's start this analysis by putting to an end, a certain argument I've had amongst many Kenyans, saying that the deputy president still has a lot of work to do as deputy president. That Matiang'i supervising, does not step into the deputy president's territory. Let's put that argument to rest. And I will do so by quoting a newspaper article published on April 12th, 2013. Okay? The headline was Ruto will supervise ministers. And I read, Deputy President William Ruto will now coordinate and supervise ministries in the next government, following discussions with President Uhuru Kenyatta. The two have been working on Ruto's job description, since the Constitution does not define the role of the Deputy President other than stating he is the President's principal assistant. The job is similar to the role performed by Raila Odinga as Prime Minister in the coalition government since 2008. Now, I've done a thorough research, looking for another article or looking for another statement from Jubilee that rescinded this early decision, or changed it. I found none. Okay? So the fact that Matiang'i is now coordinating and supervising ministries, that is DP Ruto's job. Period. Now, something else to put this to rest. Okay? The deputy president is the president's principal assistant. What that means is that the deputy president can never do his own things. Yeah. It also means that the deputy president gets assignments, things to do from the president. And that means they have to be very close. They have to be together virtually all the time. So that as the president is going about his work, something comes up and says, "Oh, William, handle this." Yes, that's how he gets his assignments, apart from supervising the ministers, the cabinet secretaries. Now I can see somebody shooting back at me and saying, "Come on, Chris, we live in modern times. There are phones, you can chat on WhatsApp, etc., etc." Yeah, that is true. But take careful note of the fact that this announcement was made by the president when he was in Mombasa. The deputy president was nowhere near him when he made this new directive, this new executive order. Yeah. And I think it is very instructive that after making this order, he was with Ruto the next day. Actually, the deputy president flew into Mombasa for a meeting with the president after this announcement. Now, I have a very nagging feeling his flying into Mombasa to talk to the president had something to do with this executive order. Yeah. Now, if you are the deputy president, would you come out and make a statement and say, "I'm very upset at the president. I don't know why they're doing this to me"? That, first of all, would show you weak. You would be classified a crybaby. Yeah. You're going crying to the press, crying to the Kenyan people, after all the files have been removed from your office. Yeah. After your in-tray has been rendered empty. And then you go crying to Kenyans? No way. You put on a brave face. You say this is a good move. This will enhance efficiency. And by the way, when you're saying enhance efficiency, what are you actually saying? You're saying that Matiang'i is more efficient than you, because that's what you were doing before. Yes, you're welcome to correct me. Interpret that in an alternative way. Yeah, I'm listening. The long and short of all this, my dear friends, is that this is politics. And this is politics with very high stakes. It's politics at the highest level in Kenya. But what does it all mean? Well, I'm sure you've taken in my previous video. Yeah. And I'm sure you listened between the lines. You know you can say something without actually saying it because it is so highly sensitive. Now, with that kind of information at your disposal, let me ask you a question. If you're in a company and you're working in a senior position, maybe as deputy CEO, yeah, and then you had your entry cleared in this way, yeah, your job, what you do, assigned to another person. What does it usually mean? Okay, number one is obvious. It means that you're about to be fired. Yeah. Or as I said in an earlier video, to be assigned to a very far off post away from the head office. Yeah, you know, in corporate world there's also politics. There's corporate politics. And it is also very vicious and very brutal, just like real politics. But for our purposes today, I want us to focus on reason number 2. And that would be trust issues. Because a deputy president cannot be fired by the president. Yeah. So because there are trust issues, yeah, certain responsibilities, certain things they're doing are taken away from them. Access to sensitive government matters, yeah, is kept away from them. It is super interesting that Uhuru's dad, yeah, the founding father of the nation of Kenya, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, did exactly the same thing to somebody in 1966. Now I want you to listen to what Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, the then vice president, said, yeah, after he had resigned from the vice presidency. He said, and I quote, "I resigned because I didn't want to get paid without working for the functions of my office, which were taken away by Mzee Kenyatta, and my office was taken over by cabinet secretaries allied to Jomo." End of quote. I think I need to read that again. "I resigned because I didn't want to get paid without working for the functions of my office, which were taken away by Mzee Kenyatta, and my office was taken over by cabinet secretaries allied to Jomo. Jaramogi Oginga Odinga said this on April 14th, 1966, shortly after his resignation. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.